Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at this absolute box of wonders sent to me from King Games.
Scruffy Crow.
Okay, it's that time of year again, and it's time for King Games to have another one of their fantastic Dunkeldorf Kickstarters. This year it's called the Kingpin of Dunkeldorf, and this is the sort of main art for it. I think that's absolutely stunning. It's got proper old hammer vibes to it. We've got a proper sort of set of gang members, the more unsavoury types that you'd see around Dunkeldorf, and I'm just loving everything about that painting. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna get this stuff out of the box and I'll show you what they sent me. First of all, got rid of a mug with some of the art from this campaign on. That's a lovely bit of kit. Here's the one they sent me before. I keep some brushes and things in, so that will also cheer up my desk. We've got a much larger version of that art. Now that is beautiful. We can really zoom in on it. Got an angry little dwarf. He reminds me of something from The Witcher. Lady crossbowman, we've got a thug there. We've got the Kingpin himself. Some more sort of thug types, including a little female dwarf. And then look at all this. This is the sort of stuff I love. That's proper old hammer style architecture and art there. And look at this little fella. And a Dunkeldorf poster. Got a fantastic art card of almost like a poster for Sven's Bitter. So I'm assuming this guy is Sven himself. And the other side of that postcard that I showed to start with is some of the painted minis and a little bar scene. I like this little A-board as well. Some fantastic stuff there. Hope that's part of the campaign. They were also cool enough to send me some stickers. So we've got Sven again. The peacock logo from the previous campaign, and then the Dunkeldorf logo. So if you're not familiar with Dunkeldorf, these guys have created, now I think this is their third Kickstarter, and just an absolutely fantastic range of sort of Warhammer or old hammer style, sort of Renaissance-y townsfolk. So a lot of the miniatures aren't armed. They're kind of going about their business to a certain extent, and yeah, all set in this town of Dunkeldorf, which I believe they're making some sort of source material for, so you can use it in sort of D&D and Warhammer Fantasy roleplay and stuff. So I'm mostly picking up their models for more as like terrain, so NPCs, and just sort of decorate my townscape, which they are absolutely perfect for. So let's have a look then. This is the main event now. We have a small sample of the minis available on this year's campaign. Now these are an odd one. So we've got some bases here. I think they're just bases, but they're only 20mm wide. So that's a sort of standard 25mm base that I would use, or like a Warhammer style one. So they're quite a bit smaller than that. And I was kind of thinking maybe I'd use them as sort of base toppers if I could take the bottom off. That's an odd little thing. I'll certainly get use out of them somewhere, but I'll be basing my guys on these 30mm lip bases to match the rest of my townsfolk. In hindsight, I might go, I would have probably done them all on these, but I thought about it from the beginning, which is what they come with actually. But I've started on these ones, so I will finish, in the words of Magnus Magnusson. But despite being on the smaller side, they've got some nice detail and the nice little stone bases, and they'll make great little objectives or something. These ones are also numbered, so I've got 1 to 4 here. Okay, so the first mini then, we've got that little dwarf that I liked so much, that reminded me of the dwarf gang in The Witcher. He's got a little hammer. Oh, I see, on the ground there, down in front of him. Oh, that's nice actually, I like that. I like that a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun to paint up. And then we've got this sort of pit fighter looking fella. He's got a chain in one hand, and he's got these sort of Renaissance style sort of flared trousers, I like those. And a mighty codpiece. And then this hand has been replaced with a blade in true pit fighter style. He's a lovely mini. And then the last mini they've sent me is the Crossbow Girl. So this is the one they've got here. I will say before I take her out, this is fantastic packaging. I'm assuming if they go to shows or what have you, this is the packaging they sell in, because it shows off the mini. It looks pretty sort of cheap to do, but it looks really nice. Just having the little business card in there. I imagine you could probably just hole punch some holes there and you can get quite a few of these on a little rack. So I think this is actually really good packaging. It's not something I often think about. Let's have a look. So when the first Dunkeldorf Kickstarter came out, that was all sort of hand sculpted. I believe these are all now digitally sculpted. But the guy who does them has done an excellent job of transferring his hand sculpting skills into the sort of digital realm, I think. And they've still got a lot of character. Definitely a lot to like about them. Just to give you guys a bit of an idea how these guys scale, I've got some minis here. This is one of the Rangers from North Star, and she's a bit more exaggerated and taller than him, but would certainly fit in as an NPC, I think. Same for this is the Elf from Mordheim, who actually scales with just as a side note, scales with the guy from North Star really well. And then we've got a character here from Bear's Head Miniatures, and that is a spot on side by side, I think. She's a little bit taller still, but size wise. So they are a little bit on the large side, especially these three they've sent me. So I'm going to go away and make my best effort to get these three painted for the end of the video, so I can really show them off. But just as another side note, here are some of the minis from the previous campaign, which I have shamefully not painted yet. This one especially really struck out with me, just so you can really see some of the style there. She should be holding this halberd as kind of a town guard sort of effect. And I absolutely love that mini. It's got a real good style to it. This is what I was saying, sort of more NPC style. We've got a drunk here holding his bottle. He looks like he's picking a fight with someone. And a barmaid with a peg leg, which I think is pretty cool. And then even seated characters, like this seated sort of courtesan, but also characters that were quite, that fit around other bits of furniture. So we've got a bard here with a leg up on a chair or a table or something. It's going to be an interesting one to base. I mean, if you're doing dioramas, that's really, I've never seen any other company do something like that. Getting her based on the small scale though might be a bit interesting, but I could always find something like an old barrel or something to sufficiently prop her up. But still, yeah, just wanted to show these ones off as well. Stunning minis. Just as a quick side note, I make the bases for these guys myself. So what I do is I just get some green stuff, squeeze it down onto a base. I cover the base in a bit of masking tape first. I get the green stuff to all the edges, but so it doesn't overflow onto the rim. Try and get that nice and smooth so we've got no fingerprints. And I've got a base pad. I made this myself, so I sculpted this whole pattern and then made a mould of it with some Orimaroo, I don't know, similar to Green Stuff Swirl Blue stuff, I believe. But yeah, it's a reusable thermoplastic thing. And I just pick a spot, press it down, and then if I need to neaten it up afterwards, I do. But I can produce bases quite fast this way. You can also add a bit more detail or cover any particularly ugly bits just with a bit of PVA and a sort of quick sprinkle of my normal basing sand. And then once that's dry, I'll wipe it off the rest of the cobbles and then that'll give me the effect of some dirt in between the stones and sort of little piles of mud. Okay, I've made some progress on the new minis. These have had pretty much just undercoats and dry brushes and washes and stuff. I tried to get these painted as quick as possible. As I'm recording this section, the Kickstarter has already started. It's been running for a couple of days. It was funded in the first day, if I remember correctly, and it's doing great guns. There are some fantastic bits of artwork coming out for that, so I'm really keen to keep an eye on that. And I've backed already. Though I have backed a little bit less enthusiastically than I normally would, but I can always bump it up during the pledge manager if to get the specific sculpts that I want. So let's take a look at what we've done with the three they sent me. We've got this Thug, and he is absolutely fantastic. I'm really keen on this sculpt. So here's the Rangers of Shadow Elite Ranger I often use for these size comparisons. A lot of North Star minis are the same, and he matches quite well with Old Games Workshop stuff. So yeah, here's my size comparison. So if we look at the big fella, he is suitably huge next to him. A proper big old thug. Now my criticism would be that so is the lady with the crossbow. She is still rather large compared. Not crazy big, but personally I would size that sculpt down just a little bit. And then there's the dwarf here. Now I was thinking the dwarf was quite big, but here is the dwarf from the first Dunkeldorf Kickstarter. I've just been trying to get some paint on as well, and actually they fit really similar size, so they do match. Now, one of the reasons why I'm a bit less enthusiastic about the latest Kickstarter is that they did switch from traditional sculpting methods to the digital sculpted ones. Now, the guy who does the digital sculpts, I've watched a few of his streams, and it is absolutely fascinating. And I do think that out of all the digital sculpts around at the moment, these are some of the characterfullest. They are looking really nice. But you do lose something. No matter how well and how characterfully you can digitally sculpt, there is something that is lost. Here's another one from the first Kickstarter. Now, the model might not be as clean, it might not be quite as sort of smooth as this one. But I don't know, there's something about a traditionally sculpted miniature that I do prefer. That could just be me. I'm not saying they're not nice minis. For instance, here's the one I mentioned from the second Kickstarter that I really liked. Now, I've done a really standard paint job on this, and I'm definitely going to have to revisit some bits, including the lantern. But I just wanted to get some paint on there so I could show her off. And I think that is absolutely terrific miniature. Just the movement and the shape of it. I'm having trouble keeping it in focus, but it is a fantastic mini. Excellent watchman. There's my scale guide. And actually she falls in scale with the North Star guy quite well. Even if she would be a little bit taller. But no, there's some absolutely stunning minis coming out. I've even done a halfling, because what's a video on my channel without at least one halfling? This is another character from the second Kickstarter. I'm not entirely happy with their paint job. But yeah, I think it's a nice characterful mini. My second little criticism I might have of some of the minis that they're bringing out for the latest Kickstarter is quite a few of them were armed. One of the things I liked about the first Kickstarter is there was quite a few sort of proper NPCs that weren't holding anything, or if they were, it was just a small dagger, or this guy's just got some pliers. Things like that, which I thought was quite nice. Whereas the new stuff so far, they are all that bit more armed. But there again, they are meant to be sort of street thugs, so it does make sense. And I can't fault the sort of setting and the story at all. It's got a proper old world Warhammer RPG vibe. The miniature would be fabulous for role-playing games. Just you've got a sort of endless supply of NPCs. And I said, if you watch my Townscape video, you'll see that I actually use them as sort of almost like terrain. Some of the unarmed fellas particularly work really well just to sort of stand around my town looking at things. Well, actually, as we're talking about it, here's the promo postcode. And we can see that Sven, the sort of title character of this Kingpin of Dunkeldorf Kickstarter, he is unarmed and doing the old Mr. Burns. But then the guy here is also armed, so there's a mix for sure. But yeah, like I said, definitely worth checking out. Definitely some very nice miniatures, especially if you need some NPCs for some sort of role-playing game. They are fantastic for that. The Kickstarter is running right now, so go and check it out. The link will be in the description. And that's all for this video. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments. Maybe subscribe for more. And as ever, thanks for watching. Bye.